Welcome, huge movie fanatic Nate, stopping on by, once again coming your way for another retro VHS showcasing video. I guess pretty much any VHS showcasing video is a retro VHS showcasing video, but it sounds much cooler to say retro VHS showcasing video, I guess. I pondered getting this when I came across this. This was only $3, so I'm like, I guess I can probably do it. This isn't, this isn't by any stretch or by any means the original North American VHS release. It's from the late 80s, but I don't think I've ever owned the VHS of this title. I've known about this for a long time. My dad rented it way back in possibly late 80s, maybe early 90s. I was made aware of the fact that I'm pretty sure this is Jennifer Connelly's film debut, which is kind of interesting. It's kind of gross, honestly, to think about it, but I mean, we all know that Jennifer Connelly would grow up to be, this busty, buxom babe in such films as The Hot Spot and, Career Opportunities and The Rocketeer and possibly like Mulholland, is it Mulholland Falls and was it Dark City, and all kinds of movies before she lost a lot of weight, and, the first Hulk film from 2003. So, her being kind of, in her older years, like, post 18 and beyond, becoming kind of a sex symbol, it's kind of, in a way, creepy to think about. I mean, yeah, she's really young in this movie, we'll just say. So, but if you want to see her really young, which is kind of weird to say, you can see her really young in this movie. I can't say I'm the biggest fan of this movie in the world. I'm more of a fan of, I guess, Italian horror movies than Italian, westerns or Italian gangster films. But I definitely recognize the, I guess, quote-unquote greatness that can be found in this movie. So not the biggest fan in the world of the movie, but I guess it's not a movie review. It's simply a VHS showcasing. Coming across this for $3, I actually put it back, or I pondered this back and forth, and I'm like, you know what? It's 300 pennies. It doesn't really matter, just get it. You can make a video about it, and I might watch it just for fun. Coming your way to showcase this I guess late 80s VHS double cassette North American VHS release of Once Upon a Time in America. All kind of years here, as we can see on the bottom of the back of the packaging. Program content, copyright 83, artwork and photography, copyright 84, and package design and summary, copyright 1987, Warner Home Video Incorporated. Taking a closer look at the front cover, top corner, closed caption logo, and in the center there on black, kind of looks cool. Nice and golden on black. Is this possibly faded maybe a little bit? It's hard to say. Once Upon a Time in America, and that old kind of 20s, 30s font kind of stuff going on. That's really cool. As we can see, there's a sticker that has since been removed. I didn't remove that. That's how this VHS came when I purchased it. We can see the main picture there is that the Brooklyn Bridge, some kind of bridge. It might be the Brooklyn Bridge, the main famous image there. It's actually a still from the movie, if memory serves. On the left we can see the characters when they're in their youth, and on the right we can see the four characters as older grown-up men. Panning further down to see that famous image there of the bridge and the kid doing his little thing. Like I say, pretty sure it's just a still frame kind of from the movie. It's just a shot from the movie, just taken and kind of turned to they call that kind of sepia tone to make it look like an old photograph there. On the bottom we can see abbreviated credits. We can also see the original motion picture as shown at the New York Film Festival. So this version is that, I guess. Not sure how many versions of this movie there is. I know there's at least, I think, 2 or something. So there's that. You can also see, just like with Blade Runner, this is a Lad Company release. On the bottom center there, through Warner Brothers, a Warner Communications company. Taking a look at the right spine, we can see on the top the green little band there which says Adult Drama. I guess at the time Warner Brothers had bands on the top for different genres, which was kind of interesting. Late 80s Warner Home Video logo, and as we can see, since this is a dual cassette or a double cassette VHS release, the spine is twice as wide as a normal VHS spine. It's funny how they actually don't really, like the stuff on there is kind of formatted for a normal VHS spine, as we can see. All that information would fit on a normal single VHS spine, which is really kind of weird. They didn't take advantage of the real estate, being twice the size of a normal spine. Once Upon a Time in America logo there, closed caption logo, and a still from the movie can be found on the spine. Catalog number 2 is 0019A/B would be for the cassette A and cassette B. As we can see, it's not cassette 1 and 2. I guess they designate it as cassette A and B, which I guess also makes sense. Color /226 minutes. That's a long movie, red VHS, and a lowercase, I guess that's the hi-fi logo at the end of the day. So I don't think this movie was in stereo, which is kind of strange given how big of a production it was, but it being an Italian film, I don't think even in the early 80s they really monkeyed with stereo necessarily, so it's simply hi-fi and not hi-fi stereo. Taking a look at the left spine, green band for indicating adult drama once again at the top. Everything looks to be the same with the exception of the still from the movie is replaced on this spine with a barcode. Top of this particular VHS release of this film looks like this. You can see the camera in the reflection of the top of the VHS. Lucky you. Taking a look at the back once again, so that green band goes around the sides and the back, indicating adult drama. As we can see, we saw a little snippet of this photo on the right spine. This is a more kind of like a widescreen version of that photo. One small image for this whole epic to indicate or to showcase or whatever this whole epic. Basically a bunch of corpses on the ground in the rain with quote-unquote possible authorities assessing the situation. I'm not so familiar with this movie. I do have it on DVD, and now I have it on VHS. Sergio Leone's epic of crime and betrayal. They grew up in the violent immigrant ghetto of New York's Lower East Side. Max and Noodles, Cockeye and Patsy, Deborah and Fat Mo. They grew up on the streets, and they grew up fast, fighting their way to the top of the heap. They took a vow to stick together, but that's not how things worked out. Once Upon a Time in America is director Sergio Leone's astonishing gangster melodrama, an epic exploration of the dark side of the American dream. 10 years in the planning, Leone's film is the work of a master storyteller, grandly conceived, rich in complexity and detail, thrilling in the depth and originality of its vision. Like Leone's classic westerns, this new film is a bold, personal statement on a familiar genre. It's also an exciting tale of risk, danger, and betrayal, with the narrative drive to carry its characters across 50 years of lurid underworld history. Robert De Niro and James Woods co-star as Noodles and Max, the two childhood friends whose uneasy crime partnership unravels in death and misery. An all-star supporting cast features standout portrayals by Tuesday Weld, Tret Williams, Elizabeth McGovern, and newcomer Larry Rapp. Particularly strong are performances by the young actors chosen to play the central characters as ghetto children when the tragic pattern of their lives is set. Drawing inspiration from the New York ghetto photographs of Jacob Riss, Leone's cast and crew recreated period settings with meticulous authenticity. Leone's search to find the perfect visual setting for each event in his tale gives Once Upon a Time in America an uncanny power that often seems more dreamlike than realistic. The important thing is to make a different world, Leone told American Film. To make a world that is not now, a real world, a genuine world, but one that allows myth to live. The myth is everything. As we can see, late 80s Warner Brothers logo beneath that. Then there's a line right under that, and we've got your all-important warning copyright information, rated R, of course. We've got registered service mark of the National Captioning Institute Incorporated. We can also see that this cassette release is NTSC. Oh, look at that. The linear audio tracks on this tape have been encoded with Dolby B type noise reduction. For those of us in the late 80s who had old VCRs, probably from the early 80s, that had a switch that could be switched to turn on Dolby B type noise reduction. Taking a look at cassette A, we've got late 80s Warner Home Video logo. What they did, as you can see, is kind of like black on the top, black on the bottom, and white in kind of the, I guess, more or less center of the label. In this case, black on white, Once Upon a Time in America, VHS Hi-Fi, the closed caption logo, rated R, color 226 minutes. We can see a catalog number 20019, and an A would indicate this is cassette A of a two cassette pack, which would include a cassette A and a cassette B, as we can see really strangely here. Copyright 1983, Embassy International Pictures. I don't know why I called that strange, I just did. Taking a look at the spine of this cassette, we can see it's printed on there, Once America. I got the title wrong. I understand it's a long title and you have to condense it. As you can see, you know, on the cover and also the label of the cassette, they indicate A, but as you can see on the spine here on this printing, it's not cassette A, it's part 1. WHV would be for Warner Home Video, and all this other numbers we can see here. Would any of these be for a month or a year of printing or anything? Not that I can see. So none of that would indicate. On some VHSs, like that stuff indicates like the month and the year of the manufacturing, but possibly not in this particular case. Okay. Taking a look at cassette B, it's the same thing. I think pretty much the same thing, with the exception of a B in the place of where the A was after the catalog numbers. So 20019B. Let me compare this to A here. It just occurred to me, okay, I thought the A was closer to the number, but there is a space there. So it looks like the space between the number and the B is further than the space between the number and the A. But I think other than that, this label is exactly the same. Does it possibly look a little more worn than, yeah, it looks a little more worn than the cassette A, which is interesting. So here's your label for cassette B, or as we'll get to on the spine, part 2. Taking a look at the spine, Once America, once again, looks more blurry than the printing on the cassette A, or in this case, cassette part 1. This is cassette part 2. It's strange they can't keep the same thing from the label to the goddamn printing on the tape. Like it's cassette B, but you know, on the label, but it's part 2 on the, you know, printing on the actual spine. So it's just kind of goofy. But the fact that there's print on the spines to me would indicate that there was never labels on the spines. I don't think Warner Brothers dealt or bothered with labels on the spines. Honestly, if you think about it, it's kind of a waste of printing and glue and stuff to really even put labels on spines. It's really kind of unnecessary, and it looks like Warner Brothers was, at least in 1987, in agreement. I didn't show this on the cassette A or part 1 cassette, but you can kind of see the Warner Home Video like security sticker on the right side of the cassette, or this is the left side, sorry. Left side of the cassette, same thing, which you've already probably seen in the cassette number A, with the letter part 2. I'm just joking with you. The cassette A, or the part 1 cassette, you could see the same thing in the picture as well. Guess that pretty much does it for this showcasing video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, we'll catch you on the next video. Yeah, you know, fumbling around with this VHS double cassette release definitely makes me want to maybe possibly take a look at this VHS cassette release. Maybe I'll watch either the yeah, it might be fun to watch the tapes and see where they